Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Sisters Squared. My name is Pamela, and these episodes we talk about neurodivergent people and more specifically more severely disabled people with Down syndrome, high levels of autism, Asperger's. And today's guest is Jason, who is involved with the Hub in Red Deer. I'm so happy to have you here today. For your passion with neurodivergent people really shines. And you've been such a strong advocate. I want you to tell us how this all got started and how you became involved with it.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
For me, I started off in this, I was an actor and I was working with Bull Skit Comedy, and they were doing a little class down at the Hub on Ross for people with various disabilities, and it was just an improv acting class. Mm-hmm. And so I went down and I helped out just with a few, and more the others who were leading it weren't available, and I became the one that was available most of the time, and I fell in love with it. It was going down, and it was like there was this group of people who were just there was no filters. They just dove in, had fun, played, and it became this really cool thing. And seeing them become more and more confident in themselves eventually made it this thing that I just had to keep going and doing. And so that's where I just became so invested. And
how long ago was that, Jason?
That would be around 2015, 2016. And in 2017, up until that, I'd been working, my regular day job had been with the police as a dispatcher, and in 2017, a job opportunity came up at the Hub. It was a pay cut, but I said, you know what, I feel passionate about being here, so I said, yes, I want to do this. So I dove in and began to, do other things there, leading whatever other classes, and just being there to facilitate the ongoing day-to-day, meeting more and more people, and became more and more invested in the group.
And what is all involved with the Hub? I know it's a big arts center that helps that creative part of people. Are there other programs through there?
Yeah, good question. So initially, when I joined, it was the Hub was actually. I'll give you the background on where it came from.
Yeah, so, for sure.
The concept started with Michener Services and PDD years and years and years and years and years ago. Michener Services, the government owned this Alberta Treasury branch downtown. When the bank closed, they said, "What are we going to do with this building?" And so Michener Services said, well, why don't we start a little shop there? People can come down and do some woodworking, do some crafts. They were sewing bags, just different things that would give people a sense of pride, a sense of that they were doing something useful and contributing. And so people were coming down and making things, and they felt that sense of contribution. And I've even spoken to people, even just a few years ago, who years and years ago, one gal, she'd been making bags down there, and she said, oh, I love that. I'd love to do that again. So clearly there was a sense of pride in doing that. Over the years, they began to add in more arts programming. So they got some drums and began some drum circles. They got more, they got sewing stuff and began to do sewing. They began to do all these other programs. And eventually, by the time I got there, it was a lot of arts and culture. There was, I started a writing group there, but there was, we had music, a few different music programs, some where you're more listening, some where you're more participating. And I started doing some film stuff there, and we did a stand-up comedy night for a while, family-friendly comedy, which was really cool, just to get people up and even just to tell one joke on stage where they were stumbling through reading it out of a joke book, and it was just like so much, like I just felt this sense of pride and accomplishment, shared with this person of like, you did it. You've gone up on stage and you've done something in front of an audience. That was the coolest thing. So we started to do all these different types of activities, and a lot of these activities were going on before I got there. So I didn't want to make it sound like but there was certain things that I was passionate about that I added into the programming that was there. And it was just really cool, all the different types of art and yoga and dance and just so many things.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, when everything was shut down for COVID, there was a change up. The government looked at that and decided, for whatever reason, they didn't want to be in that business, we'll call it. It didn't fit or something. So whatever reason, they closed up the hub. They canceled the program, closed the building, and said, no, we're never going back to that. They also closed up Camp LG Barnes, which was also a place where people with disabilities could go camping for a night or two in cabins that were accessible, that they had. They have a petting farm. They have a boat that you can go on the lake that has wheelchair accessibility, so they could actually take people out who maybe hadn't been out swimming in a lake or on a boat and be able to have them experience things. So that had also been run by the provincial government for quite a while, and they closed up that program at the same time. So two big programs just decimated at once at a time when we were all stuck at home.
Right.
And we were all more likely to look the other way while it happened. Maybe that sounds a little political, but I saw that and I said, well, we've got to do something.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was getting phone calls from parents and from people that were participants, and as they began to hear that this had been shut down, the worry was, what's going to happen when we are able to go back out again? And I had one parent who said, like, I can't tell my daughter, because whenever I talk to her, the only thing she asks is, when can I go to the hub?
Yeah.
And
it's important to have safe spaces for, right?
Exactly. And so to be able to get those safe spaces back up and running was important. So that's when we rebooted the current version of it, which isn't a government program. It's the Red Deer Arts Council. So Suzanne Hermery there, Amy Erlinson from the city, and myself chatted, discussed, what would it look like. We found a few funders to help kick things off and started off a new program. We called it the Hub 2.0, and it has art, music. We've mixed in other different things like theater and dance and yoga and all kinds of other different programs over the last few years to keep up some variety and so on. And
it's all creative arts oriented, no sports, really?
Yeah, no sports in this one.
Okay.
I mean, we've done, there was one day when there was only, I think, a few people showed up, and pickleball, they had drop-in pickleball in the gym, and I said, do you guys want to do that? Instead of whatever we had planned that day.
Right.
And so we just joined the drop-in pickleball, just switched things up, because I thought, this might be kind of fun. The group that we had, it just seemed like a better fit than, I don't remember what program we were supposed to do at that time, but it was just a better fit. So we did that. So it's mostly the creative stuff. But we are doing things like yoga, Tai Chi, and dance. So that's more of physical, but not sport necessarily.
And how many participants do you average get?
It ranges for each program. So our morning art is usually around 40, 45 kind of a thing. And that's on our Wednesdays, which now we're only going to do Wednesdays, but I'll come back to that in just a second. But but so we have art in the morning. It's about 40 to 45 people. And then usually Dean Ray in the early afternoon brings in now over 100 people quite often. Yeah, so it's busy. So we need the gymnasium. We need the big room for that. And we bring in drums and instruments, and so people can drum along and play along. A lot of people like to dance, so it's a really good, just a fun social time. And then after that, our later afternoon programming, sometimes it's theater, sometimes it's karaoke, sometimes it's just whatever. We change it up a little bit, but that is more like 40 people again, kind of a thing. So, yeah.
And so what kind of challenges or barriers do you see in these spaces for those who enter?
Definitely a couple of things. One is finding a space that is fully accessible. And even the YMCA where we're at, it's a brand new building. It's been open less than 10 years. So everything should be up to code, everything should be great. But even there, I had one of our participants point out, this accessible bathroom here? There's no button on the door. And he showed me how he's trying to reef the door open and wheel his chair around it, right? And it's an accessible bathroom that was built very recently. So these little things somehow slip through the cracks, right? There's, what else? Even just being comfortable coming in and for the first time and meeting people when you haven't met them.
I want to elaborate on that a little bit because that's where the relationships come in and building the relationships, right? So how do you approach that, or what do you do to help ease it a little bit for them?
Yeah, so that's just being very aware if I see somebody who I haven't met before, and being able to go over and introduce myself and say hi and just ask them a little bit about themselves. Try and pick up on something that really excites that person, and then give them a chance to, start a friendship there. And then hopefully I can, if there's anybody else in the room who kind of fits that also has a similar interest or something, then I could say, oh, by the way, so-and-so has that. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but that's the ideal, right?
Yeah.
And then, and typically a lot of people come with support, and so their support knows a lot.
That was my next question. How many come in with family members or friends? Do they come on their own?
Yeah, it's a total mix.
Total mix, yeah.
I would say, let's say 80% are probably coming in with support. And then of the rest, it's a mix of some are coming with family. There's definitely a few. And then there are some that just come on their own. And yeah, it's...
Do family normally stay?
Like if they're coming in a support capacity, or if there's, or if it's something like where maybe, mom and her adult kids, maybe her adult kids, there's a couple of them that have a disability or something. Maybe they'll all come in and like work on a craft in art or something, or they'll all come in for something, and usually it's kind of that's their family activity, sort of a thing, or they're kind of coming out together. It's not as often. There's just certain families that do come out. That it's not nearly as common as the people coming with support kind of a thing.
And so then we'll move into the family relationships and the family dynamics. And have you seen specific dynamics between family members of neurodivergent people and them as well? What kind of relationships have they formed in the program? Does it stay outside of the program, or is it only inside the program?
A bit of both. So obviously, if this is somebody who's family, whatever, we do have some people that like their child, they might be coming with support, and but mom, dad, they'll show up at different times to visit, to come, join in for an afternoon or something. especially when we do theater or something like
Right,
that, then
yes.
it's coming to watch your child, on stage or something like that. And that's pretty common. It's a lot, that's when it comes to parents and children
Right.
or siblings. I've seen definitely some siblings that come in together from time to time, and they'll quite often participate together and that sort of thing as well. And then the relationships that are built there, and do they translate to the outside? Because I'm sure that family
Right,
stuff does
yes.
all the time,
Yeah,
right?
family
Yes.
stuff, but yeah,
But relationships that are built.
yeah.
I know.
Well, you're supposed to tell the lady that you're bowling.
Yep.
And what's your highest score you got
I
one
don't know,
time?
Mom. Maybe 6,
Your highest score?
maybe 10.
No, higher than that.
200.
Try.
Christine, you bowled at 200, I was told.
Yay! I'm a winner! Yay! Thanks, Mom. You're the best too.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you have to remember these things. Like, you're not swimming anymore.
I
I
know
think-
how to swim.
Gave it up 2
I
years
like to
ago.
bowl.
Okay,
Tell us
that's
a
fine.
story
Bowl.
about bowling. One time you were bowling, what happened?
I went to Kim.
Okay. And?
Kim, she's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
She had dress on.
What do you
She's
know?
beautiful.
What happened? I don't know anything.
Kim has a nice dress on.
Yep, she is too.
Was she bowling?
No, I am.
Okay.
Kim
bowls?
takes her. Kim takes
Yeah.
her.
Oh, Kim takes her bowling.
Kim takes her bowling.
Okay.
She was going to Disneyland.
Carolyn was going to
No,
Disneyland.
Christine was going to
Oh,
Disneyland.
Christine's been to Disneyland.
And so
Yes,
Carolyn said,
my favorite donut.
Carolyn said, so are you flying? And Christine says, no, we're walking. So I think it was one of her favorite staff at the time. And she had a crush on him. And he was taking her, but they're walking to Disneyland.
Were you walking to Disneyland?
But no, she's been to Disneyland and Disney World.
Yes.
And she really didn't like them because she does not like the rides. No, so that wasn't.
But you like being on big ships. You went on a cruise. Remember the cruise you went
Yeah,
on?
I like cruise.
Yeah. Do you remember where we went?
Yep.
Where did we go?
I don't know.
Alaska?
I like that.
Yes. What kinds of things did we do on the ship?
Pizza,
Yeah, we had pizza. Yeah.
maybe a pop.
We had some pop. Yeah. Did we do some dancing on the ship?
Maybe dance.
Maybe some dancing? Did we have some nice dinners?
Yep.
Remember when we did the wine tasting? Wasn't that funny?
Taste me why?
Yeah. How did you have to smell the wine? Do you remember? Remember what they told us? We had to hold one of our nostrils.
Ask Carol.
Christine, when you at the wine tasting, aren't you
I
supposed
don't
to?
know, Mom.
You're supposed to smell it first, aren't you?
I don't know.
Remember, you did it yourself. You took the glass and you put it up to your nose.
I don't know, Mom.
That was the wine tasting.
On the
Tastes
ship?
good.
You can't
Tasted
remember?
good. You don't drink wine, though, do you?
Tastes good me.
Huh? You don't drink wine, do you?
Yep.
No, you don't.
She does too. She like wine.
Yeah.
I
well,
like
you don't.
wine, but no, you don't drink
Yeah,
wine.
her.
Yeah.
Her.
I do see that. It's and because I know that a lot of people they come from other. What's the best way to word it? There's a lot of people. They come from different
Dynamics.
organizations and stuff.
Right.
So there
Oh,
might be
okay.
some people that are supported by Cosmos and someone that's supported by ETANA, and so they might not cross over too much when
I
they're doing
see.
activities
Okay.
with that organization. But the hub doesn't have an organization. Like it's not a. So this is kind of I'll call it a neutral zone, a place
Okay.
where a lot of people show up, and then there's that community bond of, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in a while,
Right.
or that's where they might hang out, where they might not have the spots as well. I know as well, Special Olympics also offers that type of a situation where people from all these different organizations they're coming together to do bowling or to do
Right.
bocce or to do whatever activity. And so it's again another place where they can see the people that maybe when they're doing an activity at Cosmos they might not see, but now they get to see that person. And I know there's romances that flare up. I know
Yeah.
that there's friendships. There's all kinds of things come and go,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. We're all
Yeah.
just human beings. you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and that was kind of where I was wanting to go. Is like, do they phone each other up and let's go for coffee? And I mean, my sister doesn't do that. She's not capable of doing that. But some of her best friends were in the Special Olympics and friends that were just like her, right? But the dynamics outside of that, there really wasn't any. I hate saying it, but normal friendships that she developed, right? Anyways, yeah, thanks for that.
I think that is really common. I've seen where people who are coming in for, I've seen this in karaoke. I don't know why I don't see it as much in other places, but for some reason I've seen it in karaoke and theater where maybe it's just because those are the ones that I'm facilitating, so I'm more attentive maybe. I don't know. But people will say, oh, can I go get that person's phone number? You know, and so then their support will kind of usually help out with making a connection. And then they'll say, oh my gosh, we're going to go for coffee next week.
Right.
Totally happens. So that's pretty neat too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So how has being an advocate of this changed you personally? Or has it?
Yeah. So how has me being an advocate for this changed me personally? I find that I get really caught up in just wanting to really make sure that people have the best experience of life that they can. So a bit of an off-topic thing, but for me, I go under the assumption that this planet we're on is all we got.
Right.
Right? This is my assumption. And if there isn't anything after this, if there isn't anything around, whatever, this person only has this opportunity to experience all the things. And so it's not really fair for me to be able to go and do all these cool things, and they can't because they've got some sort of a disability that gets in the way. And so whatever I can do to help that person to experience whatever level of that I can, that feels right to me.
Yeah. And that's amazing.
Nothing else feels right.
Right. Yeah.
So, which sometimes it's a struggle when, you know, we've all got things that we're doing in our lives and day to day and things that I want to do. But there's those moments where it's like, no, this is important to this person. And I'm the person at this moment who can be there for that person.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not going to slough them off, even if I really kind of want to once in a while. It totally happens. We're all human. But yeah, that's I guess the mindset that puts me into a position where it's important.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of experience have you noticed from the general public with your program or with neurodivergent people that are physically noticeably different? What has been your experience with that? I know mine's been different, and I'm sure Nicole's has as well as everyone. Share some of that with me.
Yeah, so this is an interesting area that I don't notice as much of other people's reactions, but I hear from the people that I know in our programs what they feel and what they're experiencing, right? So they talk about being on the bus and having some teenagers look at them funny,
right,
and feeling really uncomfortable and feeling like they're looking down on them. And my assumption is that it's just a misunderstanding and that maybe they aren't looking down on them. There probably is bullying. I'm sure that is a big thing. But I wonder if a lot of the time, if maybe people have experienced bullying and then they just make the assumption that the bullying is still happening.
Right.
With just a look. Because I've seen this multiple times where even just between people at the hub or something, there might have been something in the past, and there'll be a look across the room that is like somebody might, an example is just somebody might be kind of going into a bit of a, it was kind of an absence seizure or something, just for a moment, they stare for a minute and okay, they're something's up, and then they're back. But in that minute, somebody on the other side of the room who they were kind of staring towards is now livid because there's this anger going on. Like, oh, this person was just staring at me. No, they were literally just staring. They didn't even see you. Like I was watching from the side, but to kind of go through and explain that, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe comes from moments out in the community where something hasn't gone right. And so now they're translating that moment through that eye of, I've had a bad experience before, so this is another bad experience. It's not. It was just a misinterpretation, at least as far as I can see. I'm banging on the microphone. Careful of that. So I don't think that these moments necessarily are all really as bad as people think, but they see it as bad, and it throws this person right off, right? And so now it's how do we ensure that, I guess, people in the community are understanding the differences that people have? How do we ensure that people in the community treat people well, so that we don't have those kinds of those misunderstandings and things, and everybody has as positive an experience as possible of life. One of the things we're doing with the hub that's worked out really nicely is the last program of the day. We've been doing karaoke for a while, and I just blend that program into the after school program at the YMCA.
Oh, okay.
So we have teenagers come in to do karaoke. Well, we still have the rest of our group also doing karaoke. So it's a kind of a back and forth. And I try to mix it back and forth, so there's a song or two here and a song or two, so that they're all in the room together. There's not a ton of overlap, but there's enough where, there's somebody might say, hey, that was a really great song, to somebody in the other group, or there's these little moments, and I'd love to see it be more and more where, they sing together. That, I don't know if that's happened yet. No, I think it has happened. I'm pretty sure it has, but I can't remember exactly when, but I'm pretty sure it has.
If it hasn't, you should probably make it happen.
I should make it happen, because I think that's that's my dream goal of that crossover, is that there is that real crossover, and because that's why I wanted to have that there.
Can we just stop for a second?
Well, here.
When you go shopping, what are we shopping for?
Earphones.
Earphones.
Yeah.
What kind of earphones?
Tiny one.
Oh, tiny ones?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you need to be tiny?
Well, I need it on an iPad.
You need it for your iPad?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
going to buy $10.
where do you buy them at?
It's Cinema.
Dollarama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheaper.
It's cheaper there.
Yes, I'm thinking that.
That's your favorite place to shop? So earphones. What else
Yeah.
are we shopping for?
I buy pop too.
Some pop. What kind of pop
stuff.
do you like to buy?
Pop.
What kind?
Did Kim take you shopping for the
Blue
wedding?
and okra.
Okay, let's stop talking pop. Did
That's my-
Kim, Christine,
Red.
did Kim take you
Yeah.
shopping for the wedding?
Blue and
She's focused on the color of the pop she's
Okay.
buying. It's church time.
See, she got to her.
She what?
Sunday night. Let's have a 5
It's
o'clock.
church every day,
5 o'clock.
morning and night.
5 o'clock mass.
Probably. Do you like storms, Christine?
What?
Do you like storms?
Yeah.
Why?
Guys, I like it better.
You like
I
the
don't think
thunder?
she doesn't understand when you
really
said
likes that.
storms.
You like thunder and lightning and rain?
Oh yeah, thunder, lightning.
You enjoy it, lightning.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that's not what you said this morning when you saw those dark
Birds.
clouds,
Oh, okay, itchy.
right?
Yeah.
You said, "Oh, look at those clouds up there." and what was going to happen.
It's gonna rain. Uh-oh.
How did you come to see Pam today? How did you come here? Christine,
What?
how did you come to Red Deer? How did you get here?
Wait there. You're gonna live here too.
Yeah. Did you drive? Did you walk? Did you fly?
No, I'm not gonna fly.
But you did
how did
fly.
we get
I'm
here?
not scared.
How did we get to Calgary, Christine?
Mom, it's a Brandon.
From Brandon.
Yeah, from
I
Brandon.
live with Brandon.
Your staff took you to the airport.
Yes.
And what did you do?
So for Deb.
You waited for Deb,
Yes.
and you came to visit Pam
Yes.
on an airplane.
Yes. I'm not going to airplane.
But you have
It's
to.
driving. Driving an airplane.
Well, I'm sorry, Chris, but we flew here and we have to fly home tomorrow in
You
an
have-
airplane.
Yeah, you have to go back on an airplane tomorrow
I'm
morning.
not going back with stupid plane.
Yeah,
Well,
you
then you're
have
going to
to.
have to walk home.
No.
Well, we better start hoofing it
I'm
now.
going to Stella. She asked me.
She's going to get a little frustrated now.
I think
I'm
we
not
should
going
put
to
it.
plane. I'm
That's
going
enough.